Hello and welcome back to Metaphysical Money. We just put out our brand new quarters Quantum Business Almanac, and Heather was yet again a contributor. This time, she wrote a fantastic article about the masculine and feminine. So, I'm going to have her tell us a little bit about that. But I also want you to go read it. So, we're not going to give too many spoilers. And then I'm going to let Heather introduce herself because I feel like I've known her for forever. um, and maybe I will disclose more than she wants me to disclose. So I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Um, okay. Yes, I'm Heather. I am a somatic breath movement tapping guide. I channel, um, and I am a new Oracle card creator. Just published my first deck, but this issue of the Quantum Business Almanac was definitely calling for a joining of the divine feminine and sacred masculine. And I say divine and sacred because we can get into the toxic feminine, we can get into the toxic masculine, and like what that would mean is like toxic feminine is those times when you are crying and crying and crying and can't stop, and it's woe is me, I'm the victim, um, instead of standing up in your power. And then the toxic masculine, of course, is this domineering, I am going to take over type masculine that we see a lot in the world right now. And so the divine feminine is where we create from, and it is our flow. It is, there's so much there that like most of us have buried down because we were taught to. And we hear a lot about like bringing the divine feminine back and all this stuff, but nobody talks about the fact that she needs that sacred masculine because he's the structure. She's the creatrix. He's the structure to bring it out into the world. So that's really like where the article goes.
Yeah. It was a really interesting conversation that we had in my Money Pot collective community the other day about how you do need kind of like both of them to have, the rhythm between your feminine and your masculine. That consistent cycling is what creates desire and that tension, not in a bad way. Tension, like tension can be a really good thing. And so like when you have that desire and your tension, and this is a great time of year to be talking about this too, because when I started the Q3 business almanac, one of the energies that I didn't fully bring into play was that change in the seasons between the masculine and the feminine. And so when I put out, for Q3 that we were originally going to be writing about rebuilding, that's a very masculine energy. And about halfway, a couple weeks into the change of the seasons, then we enter into this feminine energy, which is about recreating. And so you do need the creation and the building so that we can then, do the cycle and the tension and the desire. And so it's been a really kind of fun multi-month conversation about this masculine and feminine. And because we are sitting kind of on the cusp of that, again, that switch back into that summer and that spring energy, which brings in more of that masculine energy, there is these natural cycles. Like while you are cycling through it consistently, daily, monthly, weekly, in your own world, there are certain times of years that also tend to carry a more masculine or a more feminine energy.
Yeah. Yeah. And it definitely, so like as we're coming up to February, which is like the start of spring, it's the start of planting seeds in Celtic tradition, and it's Bridget's Day, and I just totally blanked on where I was going. Hold on. So So now is the time to set that structure. Like we're coming up to the Capricorn new moon, and that is all about structure and getting those things in place before we hit this springtime uh, combustion is the word, and that's not what I'm thinking of. Um,
Question could very much be it because that is more of that masculine energy. It's that forced breakthrough of what
yeah,
what you're bringing out into the world.
right. But we know springtime energy, like it gets, and we've got the planets that are Neptune and Saturn moving into Aries, and then we've got Uranus going into Gemini, and things are gonna go quick.
Hmm.
And
Yeah, which
time's
they
going to
should because
right, but it's gonna feel like
February.
it's
Yeah,
flying. So it's like,
yeah,
hold on to your seat. Now is
right.
the time to like understand that sacred masculine, allow that side to create the structure because that divine feminine needs to be able to flow even when these things start to speed up.
Hmm. Yeah, and I think that also there is that nuance between discipline, which would be the masculine, and ritual, which would be the feminine. It's the
Mhm.
same way to speak about two things. And I think that in our lives, the more that we can bring in the same meaning of word,
Yeah,
it but with, that masculine and that feminine is like, how do I do the same thing over and over again? Because that's how we're going to get through the year of the fire horse, which starts on February 17th.
yeah,
Um, while also, having it be romantic and have it be ritualistic so that I enjoy the discipline. Because we can think about it like, yeah, discipline can be absolutely no fun, but discipline can also be really fantastic if you do
right.
it in a way that you enjoy doing it. So, how do you pull both of those energies in?
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. And I find even for myself sometimes like having the discipline to have rituals around certain aspects, certain days. Um, and I don't know, I tend to feel the energy like ahead of when it actually hits. So it's like I'm doing things back here, but the day is here. And that's kind of how my system has to operate. Um, and we find that people who have rituals on the actual, say, new moon, full moon, um, wheel of the year, those types of things. But it's having that discipline to have the ritual because you could surely skip it and say, oh, I'm too busy.
Or mentally have it and not physically have it. And then,
Exactly.
like while intention is really a big part of the rituals, like there's actually that anchoring and physical aspect of actually doing it too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Who's your chart ruler?
My chart ruler.
Like which planet is your chart ruler?
Oh, the sun.
Of course, obviously.
Yeah,
when you
the
were
sun.
talking when you were talking about like the rituals and feeling ahead, that's why I asked that question, is because um that would make a little bit more sense as to why you're feeling ahead than a lot of other people, because everything is kind of like following and rotating around the sun. I was able to show my kids like a fun video about how we think that the solar system is on one plane and everything is rotating around just in one plane, but it's really more like a firework and spiraling through the universe.
Yeah.
And I was, like it just like blew their little minds kind of a thing. But when you have to actually look at these like not just from an astrological perspective, but also from like an astronomy perspective, which I know, according to astronomers, astrology is not a thing other than it is pattern recognition, guys. And so like that's very, very helpful. My chart ruler is the moon, which is
Ah,
why I'm constantly changing.
that makes a lot of sense.
It is. But it's very much like a push and pull
Hmm.
between the moon, which is my chart ruler, and that Aries Mars energy that I have.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh
Yeah.
yeah. You and your Aries.
Me and my
I thought
Aries.
I was fiery being a Leo.
Yeah, it's going to be a very, very interesting 2026 for me. I'm really, really focusing into that, all of the other elements, everything but fire. So um just those daily rituals is very much part of that grounding type energy, that earth type energy, of like, how am I every day? What are the little small things that is going to help me be successful in life? And like, everything has, my children's father always says, do everything with a reason. So like, don't just be out here all willy-nilly, which is totally not my normal vibe. But it makes a lot of sense of like, you have to have a reason for doing everything. So like in those rituals, like, what is the purpose behind this ritual? What is it going to actually help you achieve? And then also, that watery flow. So I do have quite a bit of water in my chart. And so like, how am I going to like keep my emotional regulation and just flow through every situation? Like, is a no really a no, or is it just a flow around it in a different way? And we were talking about this the other day also, of like how women tend to go up and around things, figure out like, how am I going to achieve this? What am I going to, I need to figure out how to get this instead of like just getting it.
Yeah.
So there is quite a bit of that water energy that we do need to, how do I, the roundabout, like, is a no actually a no, or is a yes actually a yes, kind of a question. But then also that air energy, which I am going to need a lot of your assistance with this year because I
You,
have zero air in my chart.
oh, I can help with that because I'm all fire and air. I have like two water and one earth.
Mhm. Yeah. So for me, like, the way that I look at air is all about like, oh, like the more air you have, the brighter your fire burns. And so
Hmm.
I actually need to figure out how to use the damper, like on a fire stove, how you can like a
Yeah.
wood burning stove, you have the damper to like shut it down so it will last all night. I
Hmm.
need to figure out my air damper for this year. So you're definitely going to be like largely in my life because air
Okay.
is something I have like none of. And so bringing that into play for sure. And then Christina Sutter, who has been on Metaphysical Money before, she, I don't know if she has them on her website. Maybe we will be prompting her to put these on her website, but she has essential oil blends for um, fire, water, air, and earth.
Hmm.
And so I hid my fire for pretty much 2026. Like, I don't need more. And so I'm just going to rely upon the other three elements of my essential oil blends from her.
Yeah. Believe me, I get it. And especially you know me, I don't like the cold. So my grounding mat becomes my best friend.
Yeah. Or
Or
like a
going
grounding
outside to put
tea.
my hands on the trees to ground the energy. Um, because I can get way up high and I can't get back down. So like that grounding energy of getting outside, putting my hands on the tray at night, I plug in my grounding mat and just stand for 10
Mhm.
minutes and just let that feeling of everything earthing down in
Yeah.
my body. And it helps
I
with sleep too.
Yeah, Kyle was just talking about this last, I think it was last week, it might be 2 weeks ago, here on our guest interview series, about how we tend to like live up in our heads.
Hmm.
And so like, how do you ground and sink back down?
It's one of the things I go over in my certification because I attract every manifesting generator out there as a projector. Like, that's who my client base is. And so to get them out of their head and into their body is a whole feat in itself before you can start anything else. So their practice a lot of the times is like, I'm dropping my mind into my heart.
Mm,
Dropping my
yeah.
mind into my heart. My heart is my authority. It's the ultimate authority. And just to practice breathing out and feeling like,
Yeah. With those manifesting generators, I think honestly, like, the easiest way that I help bring them kind of out of their head is ask them a series of yes no questions. Like,
yeah,
is your hair curly?
yeah,
And but then there's a sensation in their bodies, either emotionally or through their sacral, where they feel like, yes, yes,
Yeah.
like, is there a light behind you? Are you wearing pink? And so, like, just 10 questions at the beginning of sessions has really helped me bring all of my generators and manifesting generators back too, because that is how they best operate outside of their head. Once you start getting into those philosophical, open ended questions, they're right back up in their head.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's another
Absolutely.
way, to just like 70% of the population is manifesting generators and generators. So, like, if you're having a hard time and you feel like you're really in your head, and this is how I trained my sacral, is I went and I stood in front of my fridge and started asking myself, do I want to eat yogurt today? Do I want to eat an apple today? Do I want? And then, like, that
That makes
training,
sense.
that yes no, or like going to a restaurant and looking at the menu and asking yourself those yes no questions. Do I want to eat this? Do I not want to eat this? Granted, I am very food motivated. If I was a dog, I would be in trouble. But so, like,
That's a
whatever your
good.
motivation is as a generator, like, go ask yourself yes, no questions around that. And that will really help you train your own, like, body to
Body.
start to feel those sensations. You can also almost always pick a generator out of a crowd because they are the noisiest eaters. Like, they
Hmm.
feel their food.
Yep. Yep. My sister, my brother. I live in a house of projectors. Both daughters are projectors. My mom's a projector. Like, my father was a projector. I don't know how we got five of us all in one lump, but yeah, it's learning how to live. I mean, nobody had any motor centers. I don't know how we got anything done.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so we only have a couple more minutes left. So, do you want to tell us about your Oracle deck? And then we also need to know where we can find your Oracle deck and find you in all of the places on the internet.
Okay. Yeah, the Oracle deck started, it came out as these were the things that like I really wanted my certification students. Like when it came through, it was very, it's stuff that I do with them a lot, but also it's the visualization piece and the intuition piece that I want them to use because I don't give them a script. Like you don't get breathwork scripts from me, sorry. This is intuitively based. You learn the tools and you use them the way you're called to. So the deck came through and I was like, oh, this is going to be great for them to practice with. But I soon realized that there are people who are scared of breath work, have heard terrible stories, or just have resistance to trying it. And this was an easy way for them to try it on their own at their own pace with their own intuition and start to get into their bodies with the breath and the movement. And it started shipping last Saturday, and I have had so many testimonials put up on social. It's been great. But it's the Sacred Breath and Movement Oracle, and it goes through grounding and nervous system reset, healing and releasing inner child, ancestral lineage, chakras, and then higher connection. And it's in that order because that grounding and nervous system reset is a number one before you get to anything else. So I always tell them, like, go from card 1 through 44 when you first get the deck. Um, but yeah. And then where to find it. There's a 6-week embodiment journey coming up the first week of February. We start that goes with the deck where we will go through as a group card 1 through 44, the 6 sections of the deck using your intuition, no guidebook. So it will be intuitively based, helping to really bring about that trust in your own intuition. And everything you can find on my website, emeralddanceofthesoul.com. and I am on Facebook, I am on TikTok, I am on YouTube, I am on Instagram, um, and on all of those, it's Heather underscore Emerald Dance of the Soul. So the handle's the same all the way across, except for Facebook is still under my personal. But if you look up Heather Carroll, you'll find me.
Just like her name is right there in the
Yep.
video. Awesome. Fantastic. I'm so excited and I'm thrilled like with this deck. Like when we kind of started getting to know each other, like this was never a possibility a year
No.
ago. Like it really, really very much was handed to you. So
Yeah. Yeah. It was, I was down after having knee surgery, and somebody I had been following like popped in, who makes oracle cards and helps people make them, popped into my email and was like, hey, we've got a 7-day challenge coming up. I'm like, okay, well, I'm on my butt, might as well do it. Like 25 cards in 7 days, sure. Technology, hello. Heather doesn't do technology very well, but I did it, I learned it, and got through the 44 cards, and then wound up winning the like grand prize of a year's membership to this woman's group. So we're in the process of creating deck number 2.
I was not the handed to you that I was going for. But I was saying like
It was just handed. It was like, here's this challenge. What are you going to make 25 cards about? And it was immediate, like, this is where I need to go with this.
yeah, yeah. Um it it's so interesting though. Like you really had to be like put you have to
I
sit and
had to
stay,
be put
you
on
know?
my butt.
Yeah, because and I think that that happens for us a lot of like and we just kind of came out of this period of like limitations and like
Mm-hmm.
how can you expand with the limitations that you have. And so um this is going to come out after that energy that we've kind of been through. And so think back to like January 16th ish for like the 16th through the 20th. So like that weekend over, you know, that Capricorn new moon of like what were your limitations and how did you expand and create within those. I'm going to use my food analogy again. So the way that this manifests for me probably most often is like I hate going to the grocery store and I will order groceries in, but some of the best dishes and meals that I make are from when like I have to figure out what I'm making from the pantry that makes absolutely no sense. So
Mm-hmm.
like the other day we had like cornbread. I had some like Nashville hot honey sausage or Nashville hot sausage. And then there was like some other things. And I was like, what if I did like a cornbread biscuits and gravy, like with like a honey cream sauce versus like your normal pepper gravy. And so it was like this most like outlandish kind of recipe, but it was so good. And so like those are like that's the energy of like kind of where we're moving and where we've been. So think about that and
Mm-hmm.
like how that worked because that is going to be carried through other planets' energies over the
Yeah.
next kind of 3 months. Like energy works as a braid. So if you look at it on a spreadsheet, which I know most people just gagged about, but if you look at it on a spreadsheet, like Venus had that energy around that Capricorn new moon, but it's going to go over and visit Mars and it's going to go visit the moon and it's going to visit the sun and it's going to, and so it will show up in different energies throughout your life over the next 3 months.
Right, right. Yep. Yeah. Mercury was in there, and then they're all
Yeah.
trine and sextile to Jupiter and Saturn, and
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. There's a
I
lot
know.
going on.
I know. And it's just like Venus is leading the charge into Aquarius, so open your heart, get ready.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome. Fantastic, Heather. Thank you for coming on as a guest. I really, really appreciate your article. And I can't wait for more people to discover you and begin working with you because you've been fantastic in my life as an addition. So be sure to
And
go
you
check
the
out Heather.
same.
I will have all of the links that she mentioned in the show notes. I will sometimes I fail at these things, but I will try to do a really good job at it this time. So and I will see you guys soon for more guests because we are featuring as many contributors as possible from the Quantum Business Almanacs.
Yay!